Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the American Dream Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Tunison, President and CEO of the Aiken Chamber of Commerce, joined today by Brad and Heather, owners of the Parlour Coffee Company. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Why don't you set the table a little bit and describe for folks the Parlour Coffee Company?
Well, it's something we set out is nowadays, everybody's kind of, too fast.
Mm-hmm.
We're all just like, get it done, get in, get out. And I think that we need to start looking at it in a different way and just slowing down. I want to create a vibe where, you're not just popping in real quick, get a drink and pop out. It's you're going to come in, you want to hang out, listen to some live music on Saturday mornings, grab a book, read, just chat with your friends. And I just think I think we need to start bringing those kinds of things back. And that's kind of where that came from.
Very cool. So we'll get into some more of the business details later on. But what did both of you guys do prior to running a business?
You go first?
Oh, yeah, of course. So I was in the military, the Marine Corps, and from there I did some aviation logistics.
Okay.
And once I left the Marine Corps, I was in corporate America doing supply chain. And then I was consulting for other logistics company. And then I met Heather. And when COVID hit, the pandemic kind of died down and just, early retirement. Didn't do anything for about, 6 months to a year until we decided to come back to my hometown, Aiken. And from there, I just followed Heather, what she wanted to do. And she wanted to run her own thing. She's an extraordinary woman, by the way. And prior to us opening up the Parlour Coffee and Company, she was in
restaurant management.
Okay.
So I've been in the food business my entire life from the time I was a teenager. And that just naturally grew into general management, did that for like a decade. And then stayed at home with my kids for a bit, got that opportunity. And then I just decided that I wanted to start back off slow, still spend some more time with my kids because when you get into management,
Yeah.
that's all there is that exists in your world. And so I started back off with bartending and serving, just working during the day, at home with my kids at night. Eventually it just, I grew into like the general management position eventually. I wanted to try something different. And my brother had worked for a chicken company, and originally I was chicken. That's what I did before, fried chicken my whole life. And he's like, I think you can do this thing. It came up because I was like, you know what? I'm done with corporate America. I'm just going to move to New Orleans and bartend in the French Quarter. That's what I'm going to do with my life. That's it. And my brother's like, no. He's like, you probably need a plan. And he goes like, maybe a job. And so the company he was working for, he's like, maybe they have something in Louisiana. Looked it up. He's like, no, that's in South Carolina. He's like, I can move back to South Carolina. So I applied, got the job. And then we took about 4 days to get here, a number of stops. Yeah, we've just been here ever since. I still do work for that company. That's my big kid job, my day job.
That's right.
This is my hobby. And they just, they run it day to day. And I help with logistics and inventory, like all the back end stuff. Like I'm responsible for all those things. And then just helping create the atmosphere is my thing.
Very cool. Well, it seems like you guys both have just a vast array of experiences that would lead you to being a good business owner and running a good company. So, and thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
My grandfather was also a Marine, and also have Whitney's husband is a Marine too. So definitely a special place in our hearts for those who serve. So for both of you guys, at what point, you got all this going on, a different background and experiences. What point did you say to yourselves, I think I want to start my own business?
I've kind of always wanted to because I have my own ideas, but you're always locked into the rules of the corporate America. You always have your set rules, When you start your own thing, especially at the restaurant standpoint, then it's, then all you're looking at is city rules, county rules, public health, not public health, but Department of Agriculture now. Then you have those rules. So it gives you a lot more freedom than you would if, you're running, corporate stuff. And so it was something, a passion of mine My brother owns a restaurant in Wyoming. My other brother owns a restaurant in Iowa. And so I was like, you know what? I want to do something, but the way, like, and then just their experiences, one of them is like a steakhouse type of deal and like on a country club. And then the other one, his wife is from Thailand. And so she does like Thai food.
Yeah.
And so, they've got like the day and night and all of that stuff. And so when we literally stumbled across this. We were looking at a retail place downtown and we're like, oh, I don't know retail, but I could do, food and anything like that. And so we had stumbled across this and I was like, okay, no, this might be perfect because it's not going to be crazy busy. It's not going to be a big operation. It's going to be daytime. We can, transition into nighttime. We can transition into lunch. And I could just see it like grow from a baby and just like get bigger, like naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't be like, boom, we're going to have to run $1,500 a day. That's not what I wanted. I want it little enough to get us through, but then we can build on something. Cause then, I can put my ideas into it and I can put some thought into things and make it interesting and fun and like what I want and what I want for people. It's the experience for people, like anything that we do, we consider the experience instead of like the flavor. The flavor is obviously important, but like the token thing, the scavenger hunt type of deal we're doing. That's the kind of things that we want. We want to give people an experience, something tangible, something that's not so digital. We want to just kind of get people more involved with different things. So we're not piggybacking, but I guess like we're, leaning into like the history of things. And also, so we're going to see, you guys will see some expansions on this later,
Okay.
and so we're just kind of building off of
Yeah,
that.
very cool.
Most of our customers that come through are transits, people traveling, visiting, and I have a big following of people outside of Aiken County. And the whole thing about the tokens is not only to create foot traffic, but to get some of the locals involved in what we're trying to do here. And most of the locals are the ones who know Aiken in and out. So finding those little tokens are out of the 20 different farmers market signs that's in Aiken. Only a local can find that one sign that has my token. Right? And then there's a couple other tokens. Like I hid a token inside of a log in the beginning of the trails of Hitchcock Woods, where you don't know where this log is at unless you go to Hitchcock Woods every day. And I had someone find it. That's the last one I hid. And I told her, like, no one will ever find this token inside of this log that was carved out just over in front of the parking lot. Someone found it within 24 hours of me hiding it. So getting the locals involved versus our visitors who visiting for certain events is what we're trying to do with our promotional events like the tokens and our cannoli nights. So that to me is special because being raised and grown at Aiken, seeing everyone come together, looking for these tokens and showing it on social media, I'm happy about it because it's something that I want is to build a community that surrounds, something that's not in the middle of downtown, but off the center towards a new way to come together. And that's what we're trying to do with the coffee company.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so you obviously kind of influenced by your family there, and you had some small business owners, and yeah, I appreciate what you guys are trying to do here, and Gary and the whole East Side Village, just to kind of grow people's concept of the downtown footprint, right?
Yeah.
And kind of showcase, hey, that there are more opportunities and more experiences than just in that downtown core, which is pretty cool. So why coffee? Are you guys coffee connoisseurs? Did you have an experience, in a different community, or like, I wanna do this, I wanna bring this back to, eventually?
So I grew up in Wyoming where, snow was crazy during the winter. And so we lived so far out of town. I'm talking like, so Lusk, Wyoming. Nobody ever knows what that is. Town of 1,500 people. Well, we lived like 30 miles outside of that town, 7 miles down dirt road. Our closest neighbor is like 5 miles from us. And so my dad would go to work 45 miles that way. And then school was like 30 miles this way. And so during the winter, I couldn't really work like that. So, cause sometimes we'd get snowed in at our house for like a week at a time.
Wow.
Cause like, it's not county, like it's county road up to a certain point. But then after that, it's your responsibility. We were renting off of a ranch. And so we didn't have that equipment. Yeah. And so we'd have to wait for somebody else to tow us, like to plow everything out. And so my mom had a friend who owned a coffee shop. just like this, like, not crazy busy, just like cute, quaint, hang out. And so I would do that after school and on the weekends during the winter. And so I just really enjoyed it. It was, simple time, had fun. I just remember it being like just really fun. It wasn't crazy. And I was like, we talked to Gary and he was like, oh, like maybe a little coffee shop. And I was like, that's it. It should be a coffee shop. Like that would be awesome. And, so then it kind of grew from there. And whenever I travel, I always go to coffee shops. I always sit down, I test their coffee and I love it. No matter where I'm at, I'm always trying to find, sit down, hang out, chill, whatever I'm doing on vacation. That's my chill time. And so it's always revolved around coffee shops. I was like, man, that's awesome. I mean, that's perfect. And so we, tested some coffee roasters and settled on a really good coffee that I love. I'm at hotels a lot for work and I won't even touch the coffee anymore.
It's just not the same product. Yep.
I guess I was just used to it before because now.
Yep. That's cool. It's a cool full circle moment for you.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way whenever we travel somewhere. It's like I judge a place by its coffee and its breakfast. We're breakfast people, right? Some pancakes and coffee. Got to try them. And if it's an Italian place, chicken parm. But that's different subject for different time. So, you guys have been open for a couple months now.
I think six-ish, 7 almost, maybe 6 months.
So
6 months now.
Closing in on that first year, what have been maybe some of the early struggles or surprises that you didn't expect?
So with my job, I actually help people start their businesses. And so once they sign on with us, I'm responsible for making sure that they have everything they need to open. And then a lot of that is like permits and everything. And so I've always been very involved with all of that. But again, that's based on things I've been used to the entire time. I know about fryers, I know about grills, I know about all this stuff. So when we just did like something simple with like no hoods, just, the big salad bar and fridges and stuff like that, I look in there and I'm like, oh, no, this is going to be easy. We're just going to pull this out. We're going to put this in, and then I'm part of making sure that they pass like their health inspections and I'm, and designing the thing. But when it comes to like actual permits and stuff, I'm not actually involved with the building permits and all of that stuff. And so that was a learning curve for me. That was I have to go here and then I have to do this and then I have to apply for this. I guess from that point of view, I was like, okay, well, I've never been involved in that part of it. So now I have to do a bunch of research. And so that was a learning curve. And then also, just things I guess I never think of when like those guys are doing stuff. Cause usually they've already got kind of like their base model. Well, we're turning a residential kitchen into a commercial kitchen. Ceilings were a thing, like just getting that done was very fun. And so, I mean, it just, just things like that where things I've just never thought of, even though I've been involved from the start to finish,
It's yours now.
It's mine now.
You have to do all the,
Yeah. I'm like, you guys just don't share that stuff with me then. You guys are just going through that on your own. Yeah.
Well, so that's probably good for you to experience then. So now you understand, from talking to people.
Yeah. So now I can streamline that part. I'm like, now you guys got to get to do this.
Yeah. Very cool. So you talked about the experience a little bit here. What do you want people to walk away thinking or feeling when they come here?
I want them, what we're trying to build towards is like curiosity, and like just slowing down. Cause we want to build we're trying to do like with the scavenger hunt, like with the history and everything. And that's kind of what we're going to try and build from was that, not only do we want you, like if your only goal is to sit down, chill out, read a book, drink some coffee, we got you, but if you want to, get more involved with curiosity and learning and stuff like that, like we want to start to incorporate those kinds of things, but not anything that's going to be in your face. You have to learn this thing or you have to know the history of this because we're going to start an initiative next month called the World Tour of Coffee.
That sounds cool.
Yes. And so, like we just thought of this and we're like, you know what, we have enough to start in, we're going to start it in July. And then we're thinking about starting with France. And I want to try and make it to where like, you learn a little bit about the coffee, learn a little bit about the culture, the art. And like each week, there's just going to be a little bit of a snippet of things. And then that's just kind of like the beginning of what we're trying to do. We want to, I think that we've just kind of stopped to take time to learn about other things. And I think that that's an opportunity to make it fun. And I mean, learning about different coffees around the world, like that's fun to me. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And we can just incorporate those every month and just try and, build off of that.
Yeah, that's cool. So if the world runs on Dunkin', we want Aiken to slow down at the Parlour Coffee Company. That's pretty cool. Yeah, no, and that's something too. Like you said, we get so busy, meeting after meeting, and with the deadlines, and it's like just being able to have that place where you can go and just catch your breath for a little bit. I think that'll be very, very valuable for folks here. So Brad, you might be able to answer this question the best, but both of you have been, around the country, different places. Why is Aiken the best place to pursue the American dream?
Well, the American dream is to, if you think about it, it's just to make more money and do less work. But however, it never turns out that way.
Right.
You have to put in the work to make the money. So with Aiken being my hometown and coffee being the industry that we want to break into, we look at the demographics of Aiken, more so minimum age being around 46, population growing to be about 38,000, and everything being condensed in one little 14 to 15-mile radius with the plans to expand the residential area to this east side of Aiken. They just approved 202 homes just two miles away from this location, right? And for the median age being 46, our target market being women of the ages of 36 to 42. We want to be the tip of the spear on the east side of downtown Aiken with just coffee. And Coffee and Company, just like it says, company is what we want to express as the quality that we have, not just the coffee. So Heather hit the nail on the head with quality coffee is what we want to have because we're a coffee company. But the atmosphere is what we want to emphasize on because coffee is not what we only have to offer. We have the community here helping us, such as a neighborhood friend of my family, Olivia, supports us by giving her pound cakes. We have Jessica, the owner of House of Teas right on South Boundary, helps us out with her loose leaf teas, and we have that to offer. We have a musical family member of mine, Mr. John Howard, which everyone knows who he is, and he supports us every Saturday morning with live music. So that atmosphere for our target market makes you want to stop, slow down, and come. And Aiken being one of the most growing cities, not the fastest or the slowest, but it does have a 0.5% growth over the past 5 years. But over year for this year is a 4.4% growth from last year, and it's only going to get bigger, especially with the 202 homes coming in. So this location and everything else for what we're trying to build is just going to flourish. And this is the reason why we took the offer from going to a big restaurant to being part of a innovative idea of a third party location. And us being the morning and afternoon team of this location, I think we will only be successful when most startup companies has an 18-month lifespan. I think we're going to knock that out the water and be here forever. So if we keep marketing, keep promoting how we're doing now, I think Aiken would be our forever home with the Parlour Coffee and Company, especially with the reviews and the feedback that Aiken has already given us. So being here at Aiken, that's why it's a home, and this is why we want to give Aiken what we have to offer.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys investing in your hometown, which is now all of our hometowns, right? And
Yes.
definitely Aiken. I always say it has an unmatched community spirit that I haven't experienced really anywhere else. And we're very fortunate. We have so many things going on in this community. And like you said, it continues to expand and bring new people here. And all those new people are going to be looking for those special experiences that, like what you guys are offering here. So pretty excited for you guys and, the future of Aiken as well. But I'll give you the last word here. If there's anything that we haven't talked about that you want people to know, but then also for all these new people who might not know you guys, or these people moving here, where can they go to learn more about you and the company?
Well, we do have a website. So, and that's where a lot of our, like when we announce things, we have an events page for when we do cannoli nights in the backyard. And then we have Instagram and we have Facebook as well. So it's the parlourcoffeeco.com for our webpage. And then I think the Parlour Aiken is for Facebook and for Instagram. Is that correct? The Parlour Aiken? He runs all of that stuff. I provide the content sometimes and he just runs with it. Yeah. And so that's where you can find us, and outside of physically, obviously.
And I was going to say, I don't even think I mentioned where we're at right now. And what, everything that's going on. We mentioned the east side, but the address is
703 Richmond Avenue East.
Okay. And
and emphasis on the east.
Yes. Because if you don't put east in, you'll at the other first place. Yeah. You're like, we couldn't find you. It took us on the other side.
Right. So just a block away from Farmers Market, right? All the good things happening there. So,
yes.
Guys, if you haven't been here, come experience it. You will be thoroughly impressed. But thanks for joining me today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.